These are the players that Tottenham Hotspur can sign to turn Conte's Tottenham into a title-winning team. Now, in my previous video, I went through all of the tactics that Conte has used in his previous clubs and how they would affect Tottenham's play if we were to switch from a 3-4-3 to a 3-5-2, and also simply how they can possibly improve with the 3-4-3 if they were to stick with that formation. Now, also in that previous video, we realized that there were a lot of holes still in this Tottenham team, mainly in the defense. So what we're going to do today is go through some transfer targets that I think Tottenham should aim to sign in order to perfect the Conte system, or at least, make it better than it is right now. The first position, and one that is crucial to a Conte team, is the wing backs. Now, we mentioned how important the wing backs are in the previous video, and there's one that we are heavily linked with this January, and that is Pedro Porro. Now, there is a reason why we're going in hard for Pedro Porro, because his attacking stats are unbelievable. He is one of the best right wing backs in all of Europe in regards to his crossing, assisting, and even scoring. His attacking statistics are through the roof compared to other right wing backs in Europe. And as well as that, he has an insane crossing ability. That is something that we are massively missing in Tottenham Hotspur, so there's no wonder that he is our #1 target this January. At a glance, his defensive stats do not look that good, but when you actually look at Sporting play, they do start off with 3 in defense, but in defensive transitions, he does sort of switch to a right back and help out on the defensive side of things. Now, I think if we recruit properly with our centre backs, some of his defensive stats won't be an issue, and he can solely focus on attack, sort of like how Perisic does for Spurs as well. If he's got a solid back line behind him, then we're not going to have to worry about the fact that he'll be attacking for most of the game, especially in matches where we should be dominating. And especially if we do change to a 3-5-2, then the 3-man midfield will help cope with the defense so that Pedro Porro can get further forward and join in with the attacks. And now onto another position that we need to improve on, and that is goalkeeper. Sadly, Hugo Lloris has had great service at Spurs, being captain, an amazing shot stopper in his day, but unfortunately, I would say in the last year or so, it has seriously caught up to him. There is just something about Lloris that doesn't quite fit the modern goalkeeping role, especially in a 3 at the back system where Conte likes the goalkeeper to be able to play out the back. Lloris was mainly renowned for his shot stopping abilities, but we all know he looks a little bit shaky with the ball at his feet. And currently this season, he has had 5 errors leading to a goal, the most of any player in the Premier League. So in this position, I have got 2 suggestions. The first one being Raya, Brentford's goalkeeper. 27 years old and in the Spanish setup. Doesn't start for them yet, but was in the squad for the World Cup, and he has got extremely good distribution. Brentford as well play 3 at the back, but they play a lot more direct to their 2 forwards in Buemo and Tony. And a lot of time what you'll notice for Brentford is that when they have a free kick quite close to the halfway line, it is usually Raya the one that's taking it, helping to push his team further up the field and get closer to the opposition's box. Now, not only that, the distribution to the wing backs and his quick thinking and shot stopping ability is still very, very good. Another great thing is that he's only got 18 months left of his contract. There's a reported fee of only being around about 20 million to pry him away from Brentford. Now, yes, that 20 million is probably in the summer, but I'd argue spending, say, 30 million on him now in January is extremely important to Spurs, considering the decline that Lloris is showing this season. But not only is he good with his feet, he actually has a very good save percentage compared to other goalkeepers as well. He has a 77% save percentage, which puts him in the 88th percentile of all goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues and the Champions League. And he's in the 94th percentile for touches for goalkeepers, showing that there's a lot of confidence in him receiving the ball and laying it off to another defender. The second goalkeeper I'm thinking of is Livakovic. He's a Croatian goalkeeper that featured in the World Cup for Croatia and currently plays for Dynamo Zagreb. Just about has a higher save percentage than Raya at 78%, with also very similar touches. He's got 42.25 per 90 compared to Raya's 45. And he's also just turned 28, so he's a very similar age to Raya as well. Like I said, he's a Croatian international who had an outstanding competition with Croatia in the World Cup. He was one of Croatia's success stories that got them to 3rd place in the World Cup, making some integral saves in multiple penalty shootouts, and also had the highest amount of saves throughout the whole competition. It's reported that the fee could be as low as 10 million for this goalkeeper. I'm 100% willing to admit that I have not seen much of him at all domestically, so I don't know how he's getting on with Dynamo Zagreb. However, watching him in the World Cup and seeing the praise he's getting in that Croatian team almost makes it a no-brainer for such a low fee. The next position is arguably the place that we'll probably have to spend the most money on, or at least have the most targets to look for, and that is the left centre-back role. We all know that Conte last summer requested Bastoni for the Spurs team, but unfortunately was not willing to leave Inter at the time, so we had to settle for getting Longley on loan with no option to buy, which means he's not going to be at Spurs past the summer. And to be honest with you, he doesn't look like much of an upgrade on Davis anyway, so I definitely think funds could be better off spent signing a new left centre-back, and I've split this into 3 categories. We've got a high-costing centre-back, high to mid, and then low-costing centre-backs. So number 1, and the one that's going to cost by far the most, most is Gvardiol. Again, another Croatian, 20 years old, and is picked to be one of the best centre-backs in the world in the coming years. Now, Chelsea tried to sign him last summer, but their deal was too late, so he decided to stay at RB Leipzig, and he then signed a new deal, which meant he's now got a £96 million release clause. Now, that is a lot of money, especially for Spurs, but he's already performing at such a high level for RB Leipzig, and even for Croatia. Only Messi that was able to dribble past him, and to be honest with you, it's a rite of passage to get done by Messi, so that's out of the equation. But not only that, if you do end up signing Livakovic in goal, and you've already got Perisic in the squad, it will be much easier for any of these players to settle, considering that all three of those are working so well for the Croatian national team right now. The centre-backs are the foundation to any team, so you cannot skimp on these sort of players. So even though it does sound like a lot of money, 96 million to secure one of the best centre-backs in the world, arguably for the next decade, seems like a no-brainer. Let's move on to the next pricing range, which is the mid to high. Now, for this range, we are 100% looking at Bastoni. Conte's primary target last summer, he will be our primary target again, and this time around will be a lot more open to move. He's already worked under Conte, and Conte's coached him into this position perfectly. His assist ability for a centre-back is absolutely outstanding. He's in the 99th percentile versus all centre-backs in top 5 leagues and European competitions for expected assists, and shot creating actions. This is because on the left hand side, he'll drive forward, long balls into the box, or even join the attack himself, linking up with the left wing back and the midfielders. And at the young age of 23 years old, seems like another no-brainer option for this left centre-back position. His price would have dropped from last summer, so we're looking at the roughly 45 to 50 million mark, which to be fair is roughly what we paid for Romero. So to have him in the same team alongside Romero at that price would be an absolute no-brainer for Spurs. And not only that, with the rumours that Dumfries is leaving Inter as well, and apparently they're looking at Emerson Royale as his replacement, you can sense a little swap deal going on here. Now let's look at the low costing centre backs, and there are 3 players that I have in mind for this price range. Again, apologies if I pronounced the names wrong, but we've got 3 players: Insapi, Ndicka and Medina. Insapi is Leverkusen's left centre back, and he's valued roughly around £25 million. Again, another Southern American, so you know, can get on the same wavelength with Romero at the back, and again is also very young at only 21 years old. He's very similar to Bastoni in the sense that he's got a very high expected assists per match, and he also has high shot creating actions compared to other centre backs as well. He's arguably very similar to Bastoni as well, because he's got high expected assist, high shot creating actions, and he also has very high progressive passing stats. Statistically, he is better than Bastoni defensively, as he averages more tackles, more blocks, and more interceptions per 90 than Bastoni does. Next on the list is Ndicka. Now, he is available for free in the summer. Eintracht Frankfurt player, again also very young, and he's an all-round good left centre back. He's in the 92nd percentile for assists and also has very good progressive passing stats, but he's most noticeably better for blocks, clearances and aerials won, as he's the tallest centre back on this list. He's very good at getting forward as a left centre back, but he is extremely good aerially, so he'd be great on defensive and offensive situations. All round, just a very good left centre back for a very small price tag. And the final one in this category is Medina, a 23-year-old Argentinian centre back currently playing for Lens in Ligue 1. Medina has 1 goal and 2 assists in Ligue 1 and has some of the best progressive passing stats out of any centre back across the whole of Europe, which is perfect for a team that's trying to play out the back like Spurs. And not only that, he's only valued at 15 million because his contract also expires in 18 months time. So there you go, there are 5 superb options for left centre back. Now let's move on to the central centre back position, and that is Son's compatriot Kim Min-jae. He's currently having an unbelievable season at Napoli, in a team that is looking like they are going to dominate the Serie A this year and have an outside chance of actually winning the Champions League as well. At a commanding 6'2", he will be an aerial threat in defense and attack, and he's in a high percentile for passes attempted and completed and very good progressive passing record as well. For such a tall centre back, he is also very good on the ball. Given the fact he's only 26 years old, he's barely hit his prime yet, so we'll probably have him for the next 5 to 6 years at his peak, and he only seems to be getting better and better year on year. So if we pair him alongside Romero and a younger left centre back, which seem to be our main targets, you'll have a good mix of youth and experience coming into this team. Now, there is one very important factor in all of this, and that is the fact that when he joined Napoli, there is a 44.5 million release clause active from this summer to any team outside of Italy. Now, of course, since their dominant run this year, Napoli have done their best to get Kim Min-jae to sign a new contract to eliminate that release clause, but as things stand, it is still there, and I don't think they're close to signing a new one at the moment. But let's be real, there'll also be some heavy competition for one of the best centre-backs in Europe right now. But at 44.5 million, that is an absolute steal, and Spurs should be all over that. So I'd argue that's probably the key positions that need covering. A lot of them is to do with the defensive side of Spurs, because at the moment, we're still the third best in attack in the league in terms of goals scored. But unfortunately, since October, we are sitting rock bottom at the Premier League table for goals conceded. It's clear the defense isn't there, goalkeeper, centre-backs, and wing-backs. So if we were to sign most of these targets here, I think it would be an instant upgrade on the team, and we can make a serious push for some trophies. But on to another player that I extremely like, and I think again would be a huge upgrade in our side, and that is in the centre mid, attacking mid sort of area, which, you know, a lot of Spurs fans have been craving for attacking midfielder in this side, and that is Milinkovic-Savic. He's an unbelievable goal scorer and playmaker, sitting in a three-man midfield for Lazio, which would be perfect for a 3-5-2 if we were to play that sort of system. But I think he just has the best of both worlds, of being able to create, of being able to score, something that our centre mids aren't necessarily known for at the moment. Now, Lazio, again, are a very tough club to deal with, and it won't be a cheap signing in the summer. But again, if this is a team that is trying to push for some major trophies, including the Premier League, we're going to need to make some big signings, and I think Milinkovic-Savic will take us one step closer. But what I'm going to do now is break it down simply into the monetary terms. I've run some numbers, and to be honest with you, it is no way near as expensive as it sounds to get quite a few of these targets. So one option is Rayan in goal, and it's already been estimated roughly 15 to 20 million in the summer. Porro right wing back, which we could get in January for his release clause of around about 40 million pounds. If we then sign Bastoni in the summer for roughly 50 million, and then a central centre back in Kim Min-jae for 44.5 million pounds, you're looking at roughly 155 million pounds from now until the summer to drastically improve our defensive situation. Even if we went for Gvardiol at his release clause of 96 million pounds, and then again Kim Min-jae for 45 million, and Porro for 40 million this window, you are looking at roughly 196 million pounds. If we don't decide to spend 50 million on Bastoni or 96 million on Gvardiol, we have the options in the 10 to 25 million range for Johin Sarpis, for Medinas. Doesn't even have to be as expensive as the examples I've just said. I think those options that I have listed out are probably the best possible outcomes we could have from these targets. So in summary, you're looking at roughly 150 to 200 million to completely transform your defense from now until the summer. But these signings give you the capabilities of having a title winning team. But at the end of the day, it's going to take some serious investment from the club, and it's going to be needed if you're going to want to stick with Conte past this summer. If we were to make some of these signings from now and until the summer, we will have a very, very serious team that will be able to compete. We're already building a foundation around Romero, Bentancur, Kulusevski. We could be adding more young players to that when it comes to Medina, Bastoni, Kim Min-jae only being 26 years old, Raya 27. But this is what needs to be done if we want to be successful under Conte. And at the end of the day, look, we haven't even seen much of that supposed 150 million injection that we had last summer from the board. And we have to offload a lot of players in the summer as well. So it's not impossible. It's just whether the owners are willing to take the risk and take a punt at a few of these signings and put the money where their mouth is. At the end of the day, if we don't decide to back Conte and we go for a different manager, who would you like to see replace Conte at Spurs? I personally don't want to see us get rid of him. I actually want us to act like a big club for once and make these signings, but that's just me. And that was how to get a title winning Conte side at Tottenham. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys soon.